all the Republican candidates for president favor a ban on abortion. But Donald Trump went even further, suggesting a punishment for women who break the law to have one.
And those comments ignited a firestorm, and Trump's camp is now quickly backing away from those remarks. NBC's Katie Tur has details.
Have to ban it.
Donald Trump dropping a political bombshell, telling Chris Matthews in an MSNBC town hall if abortion was banned, the woman who gets one should be punished.
The answer is that there has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah, there has to be some form.
10 cents, 10 years, what?
That I don't know.
I'm asking you. You want to be president of the United States.
Told me,
you tell me what the law should be.
Just
tell me what the law should be.
I have not determined. I am pro-life.
What's that
with
mean?
Exceptions. I am pro-life. I have not determined what the punishment would be.
Why not?
Because I haven't determined it.
A fine on human life, which you call murder?
It'll have to be determined.
A fine?
It will. Well, it'll have to be determined.
For a young woman who finds herself
pregnant?
pregnant?
It will have to be determined.
His comments setting off a firestorm of criticism and creating a rare moment of unity from both sides of the abortion debate. Planned Parenthood President Cecile Richards denouncing the candidate on Twitter. The March for Life, a group that wants to overturn Roe v. Wade, agreeing.
We would not advocate any form of punishment for a woman who's made such a desperate and sad choice as abortion.
Donald Trump virtually alone on the issue politically. From his Republican rivals.
I don't think that's an appropriate response, and it's a difficult enough situation and to try to punish somebody.
To his supporters, like hardline anti-abortion rights conservatives Governor Mike Huckabee.
From a standpoint of pro-life, I don't see any value in punishing the woman. And I have to believe that as he thinks through this, we're going to hear a very different answer.
Trump himself says he has, quote, evolved on the issue, telling Tim Russert in 1999.
I'm very pro-choice.
Hours after the Chris Matthews exchange, the Trump campaign issued a full walkback, trying twice to clarify his words, stating if abortion was illegal, the doctor or any other person performing this illegal act upon a woman would be held legally responsible, not the woman. The woman is a victim in this case, as is the life in her womb.
70% of female voters nationally say they have an unfavorable view of Donald Trump right now. Some Republican leaders worry this could ruin his chances of becoming president.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. So, Mr. Barnard, Will, can I call you Will? Will writes, before you buy Mox lunch, ask him where he stands on Trump. You might be feeding a Trump fan and not know it. You might like Trump or be okay with it. I, for one, will not buy a Trump fan anything. Thanks, Will. Well, you sure spend a lot of time here on my videos for somebody who doesn't seem to think that the page is worthy of your support. I find that very odd, and really, Will, if you don't think that this page is worthy of support, you should probably not be spending so much time here. I mean, you should find something better to do, something that's of more value to your time than wasting your time here on this page. Isn't that what you're saying to people? Because if the page isn't worth your support, you know, there's just a lot of time being wasted here, and I don't want to do that. That's the beauty of me asking for your help. If the page is of no value, you will make that clear to me by not giving any help. Okay, and if you don't put anything in my bowl, that will be the end of my community, and you know, I'll have to find something else to do. Okay, it's cool. I understand. It's a perfect balance. That is the purity of me asking for your help. It's because of your help that Mox News is still here. Okay, now as far as Donald Trump is concerned, you know, I could never support Donald Trump, but just because you don't see me out here pissing on everything Donald Trump says, trying to vilify Donald Trump in your eyes as much as possible, doesn't mean that I support Donald Trump. You know, like every other mainstream media journalist trying to vilify Donald Trump and make sure you know that if you vote for Donald Trump, you're voting for the worst kind of person there is on the planet. I'm not putting a lot of energy into that. And that may have you confused. That may make you think that, oh, you know, this guy supports Donald Trump because he's not like doing like all the other journalists. No, I'm not like all the other journalists. No. You know, I think that people are grown up enough to decide on their own who it is that they want to vote for, what it is that they think of the candidates. You know, I'm just trying to provide the information that I can so that they can make a more informed decision. Again, that's why, you know, I spend so much time doing this, because there's people who are seeking knowledge, this knowledge, and that's why they wind up here. They don't wind up here because they're looking for faceplant videos, okay? I'm sure there's plenty of YouTube pages like that where they can go to. This is for people seeking knowledge. Again, I could never support Donald Trump, but I do really, really enjoy certain aspects of his presidential campaign. I think it's so fantastic that we have a presidential candidate saying, all these media people are the biggest liars on the planet. Wow. Nobody says that. Nobody in politics says that. You know, that doesn't make me like Donald Trump, but it makes me very glad that he's in the presidential race. You know, and just on general purposes, I don't like the super rich. I think that, you know, they are the cause of great despair in the world, and they should be held accountable. And I seriously doubt that there's one of them out there that hasn't profiteered off of the surveillance state or the prison state, drug war profiteering, or just flat out war profiteering, because the money is too easy to make not to go and make it for a rich guy whose whole sole purpose in life is accumulation of money. And that's the thing, you know, I mean, I have no I relate to Donald Trump in absolutely no way. The accumulation, this whole, everything about Donald Trump is solely about him accumulating money. You know, to me, that's poison. Yes, I ask for help. Yes, I ask you to buy my lunch because I have to. I hate money. I think money is the cause of 95% of the despair in the world. And it's gross to like, and I'm sorry that I have to ask. I wish I didn't have to ask for help. I really, really do. But if I don't get any help. And even when I do ask for help, it just barely trickles in, you know, but you can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, just might find you get what you need. So I'm trying, I'm asking for help because I have been told in my life it's okay to ask for help. I can go down a list of why I would never support Donald Trump, but I'm so glad he's running. I'm so glad. I mean, how can you not be incredibly happy that Donald Trump is going to be is in position to be the Republican nominee? He's going to completely destroy the Republican Party. There is nothing this country needs more than for the Republican Party and the Democratic Party to be completely fucking destroyed into nothing. Our country needs that desperately. Donald Trump is helping make that happen. And of course, all these talking heads that are against him, they're helping make it happen because the people are showing support to him, and they go, oh no, he's evil. And they go, I don't need you to tell me that he's evil. You know, you guys don't need me to come out here spelling out why Donald Trump is fucking whatever. You know, Donald Trump doesn't do what he says. Donald Trump says, I have conclusive evidence that Barack Obama was not born in this country. Really? Well, we'd like to see it. Remember all the people that wanted to see that evidence? And then that story just went away. He says, I'm going to sue Ted Cruz to once and for all find out for sure if he's eligible to run for president or not. I'm going to do it for sure. And then he says, and then he comes back 2 weeks later and says, oh, the Democrats are going to sue Ted Cruz. No, you said you are. Okay, he doesn't do what he says he's going to do. So, but I don't need to come out here and explain this to you guys. You guys are adults. You're aware beings. You know these things. Okay? And the more I spell it out, the more I look like one of these talking heads that's trying to tell you what you're supposed to think. I'm not here to tell you what you're supposed to think. I'm here to help you find little bits of knowledge so that you can decide what it is that you want to think, what you believe, who you want to support. And you have every right in the world to support that person, even if it's Mox. And if you'd like to show some support to Mox News, it's easy to do. There's a clickable link in the text body of this video. Right below the video, it says, support Mox News. Mox News needs your support. Whatever. If you want to see the full interview with Chris Matthews and Donald Trump, there's a clickable link in the text body of the video. It says, alternate Mox News YouTube page. Click here, click there. It'll take you right over to that Chris Matthews, Donald Trump interview. And it was a pretty fiery interview. They were kind of bumping heads there a little bit. And Chris Matthews is a giant douchebag, just as big as Donald Trump, I'm pretty sure. Because he said some stuff that I need to address too. We'll get to that. So anyways, thank you very much for your continued support. If you'd like to buy me lunch, it means the world to me. It really makes a big difference in my world. And it helps me to know that you do want me to keep doing this. Okay? And that's why I keep doing it, because you guys keep saying, never let them make you stop. And as long as I have your support, I won't. I will always be here. So thank you very much for your continued support. One of these days, this war is going to end. Stay cool until that day.
Compassion stirred the Buddha to send his monks out into the community. Sworn to chastity and poverty, they wandered the roads, bringing the Buddha's teachings into the world. Go forth, monks, for the happiness of the many, out of compassion for the world. There are beings whose eyes have little dust on them, who will perish if they do not hear the teaching. But if they hear the teaching, they will gain liberation.
The monks exist by begging. We think of begging as kind of a bad thing. Begging in this tradition is a good thing. It's a sign of spiritual purity.
You're not allowed to beg tomorrow's lunch today. Only today's lunch. Then you can't eat from noon until dawn the next day. Then you have to go out and get another lunch. And then in exchange for lunch, you give a lecture. Unless they say we don't want to hear about it, then you don't. But that's the only thing but that forces you to interact with the lay community.
And if you're not serving them, if you're not doing something useful for them, they won't put anything in your bowl, and that will be the end of your community.